Today we will be discussing Aaron Douglas's painting From Slavery Through Reconstruction. Aaron Douglas was an American painter, illustrator, visual arts educator, and founder of the art department at Fisk University. He was born in Kansas 1899 and spent most of his career in Harlem, New York, serving as a pioneer in the African American movement known as the Harlem Renaissance. Aaron Douglas's 1934 painting From Slavery Through Reconstruction, from his collection Aspects of Negro Life, depicts various clusters of African Americans, each representing different scenarios pertaining to Black culture. The painting uses many shades resembling the colors of a hot desert, such as yellows, browns, and reds. The colors set a tone of time, representing a period of the past while also portraying the successes of the future that will later come to African Americans. One aspect that viewers immediately notice about Douglas's artwork is that his characters are faceless, implying a symbol of unity between Blacks and Africans. Many people at the time, including Langston Hughes, struggled to find a connection between Blacks and African Americans. They thought of themselves as different, in that African culture did not flow through them as much. Douglas was a large supporter of W.E. Du Bois, as well as an editor for his newspaper, The Crisis, where he depicted many of his paintings in which he advocated for the connection and unity between both cultures. On the far left of the artwork, we can see a figure playing drums, which represents African culture, whereas next to him, or her, there are a couple of figures depicted bent over, picking cotton in the fields. Douglas is trying to articulate that African culture was distorted with the brutalities of slavery. As the painting continues to progress in a lateral direction towards the right, we can see a figure atop a podium pointing to a castle on a hill, representing the freedom of life. In this section, Douglas expresses his support for Marcus Garvey's belief in fighting for freedom after all the hardships that whites have made them suffer. He wants to reclaim African American freedom with the full force of their brothers and sisters in Africa. In Douglas's next section of the painting, we see African Americans dressed in farmers' clothes holding buckets. This image represents the sharecropping time in which Blacks worked on mostly white-owned farms and were cheated by receiving small earnings. Although sharecropping was not as compelling to many African Americans, it was still a large leap for Blacks becoming accepted into the labor system. The last section of the painting depicts the present time period for Douglas, in which Blacks have found acceptance in the community in professions that they have gradually come to enjoy, such as what the figures portray: men playing instruments to symbolize the creation and impact of jazz, women dancing to the music, and the African American community in the background, united together in a joyful stance. Douglas's painting symbolizes the struggle of African Americans and their afterward successes that led them to where they are socially. He depicts the greatest struggle that any person has had to fear. Du Bois portrays the situation as a time in which no other person has desired and appreciated the foundations of freedom more while going through the hardships of the past 200 years, in which Douglas depicts in his painting.